Okay, like and subscribe. And let's get straight to this. Russia and China and Iran are playing chess, and the United States is playing checkers. In fact, Putin set the United States up and flipped the script. The United States was supposed to be defeating Russia with sanctions. So the United States could win the war of attrition. And the United States was throwing Ukraine to the wolves in a proxy war. The United States is using Ukraine as a proxy to attack Russia. But Russia kept warning the United States, if you kept trying to entice Ukraine to join NATO, I'm going to hit them. But see, this cat and mouse NATO game, this been going on for a couple years now. So Russia knew what they were going to do. Putin knew that they were going to try to use sanctions against him. Putin also knew that Iran had the black market connections to defeat sanctions. So he went straight to Iran. An enemy of my enemy is my friend. So he knew he had China backing him up too. But the United States thought, okay, if he attacks Ukraine, that's okay. That's what we want him to do. We're going to sanction him. Then we're going to supply Ukraine with weapons and wear him out. And then we can just walk in and take what we want after we crash their economy. So the United States thought that they had Russia where they wanted. So now the United States is looking at China. Now the United States said, yeah, we want to start this. We're going to go to war with China. We're going to do this to China because China was grabbing big slices of the global market. So the United States thought they had Russia pat. So they're going after China. And they're going after China in Africa also. But surprise, surprise, Russia is the one in Africa. They ignored Russia, thought they had Russia where they wanted them, and instead they're worrying about China going to Africa, and it's Russia is in Africa, and Russia is in Africa in Niger on a base with United States military. You see what I'm saying? United States, so they thought they had Russia where they wanted them. And they going after China, talking about China in Africa. And all the time, it's Russia. China was just with the Belt and Road Initiative. Russia is giving Africa the military equipment it needs to defeat colonialism. Now the United States is don't know what to do. Russia is outproducing, has its war machine functioning, and is outproducing all of United States and NATO 1-6. And see, this is the kicker. The United States was using sanctions, really. The United States is a bully. And the United States was bullying NATO. Don't believe me? The United States had something to do with blowing up that pipeline that was sending gas or oil to Germany and was keeping the German economy up. The United States sacrificed Germany. And now Germany would have to buy gas and oil at a higher price from the United States. Okay, so follow me. So do you think Germany appreciated that? No. But the United States controls the IMF and the World Bank. So Germany had to acquiesce, just like all of NATO has to acquiesce. I mean, France about 5 or 10 years ago told the United States, "Hey, give us our gold. We want our gold." You think the United States gave it to France? No. Okay. So now all of a sudden, you see, one thing about the United States likes to outsource everything. Outsource this, outsource that, because it's cheaper. Capitalist corporate military, based on profit. Russia produces all its military equipment right there in Russia. And anything Russia doesn't need, a friend of my enemy is my friend. He can get it from China. He can get it from Iran. He can get it from North Korea. Bam. Problem solved. So now the United States is in this war of attrition, which they are losing. And so now what happens? Iran attacks Israel. Who does Israel get all his military from? The United States. Israel is the United States is like a welfare country. The United States, we give Israel welfare and we get nothing for it. Israel has national health care and free college education, which is paid for by American taxpayers, and America doesn't even get that. Hey, look it up. So now America is fighting 2 wars on 2 fronts. Now, as Russia sees that the United States is putting sanctions on Africa, what does Russia do? Russia gives Africa tons and tons and tons of free grain, and then tells Africa, the $23 billion that you owe us, forget it, I'm going to wipe the books. Now, who is Africa going to do business with? The country that put sanctions on them, or the country that has been enslaving, colonizing, and exploiting them? Of course, they're going to go with Russia. Now you have the Sahel region alliance. Who are they getting their military equipment and training from? Russia. Now you got Senegal going to Russia for help, for military help. You got Chad going to Russia for military help. And who knows what other countries in Africa that are requesting from Russia to give them military equipment. And guess who has the military equipment? Russia. Russia manufactures everything in Russia, makes everything in Russia, and is out producing the United States and all of NATO 1-6. Because NATO's always been dependent upon the United States. And the only thing NATO is to the United States is a customer. They proved that when they blew up Germany's pipeline. Okay, so now you got the United States fighting wars on 2 fronts and being kicked out of Africa by, guess who? Russia. But who was the United States worrying about? China. Chess and checkers. Now, so what is it? And now, and it's checkmate. It's checkmate. But see, Russia is trying not to give up pieces. China is trying not to give up pieces. Iran is trying not to give up pieces. But as Russia defeats Ukraine, and the rest of the world sees that there's no way Ukraine can win, they're going to start going with the top dog. And the top dog now is Russia, militarily, technologically, China. Russia has won the war of propaganda because Israel is committing genocide, and guess who took him to the ICJ? South Africa. Now, I don't know if South Africa was a part of the plan, but if not, it's an excellent improvisation because it took the propaganda away from Israel, and Israel is good at controlling the narrative. Now they don't even control the narrative. They don't control the thing. They don't control anything monetarily because the dollar is no longer necessary as a means for the interchange of goods and services internationally. Now, I already told you that that Russia relieved Africa of $23 billion worth of debt, and China did something likewise. But Russia also provided Africa with free grain to help them to get over the sanctions. Now all of a sudden, they're dropping the sanctions on them. But then understand one thing about sanctions. Sanctions hurt the people that Russia was doing business with because they weren't doing business with Russia because of love. They were doing business with Russia out of necessity. So when you put a sanction on a company or on a country and tell another country you can't buy from them, then you're hurting their economy as well. So now what's going on? Now check this out. Xi Jinping is going to Europe. Now, you first hear this, you think to yourself, he's going to Europe. That's terrible. Why he can't go? That's terrible. He's going to go to Europe, and they're going to convince him, and they're going to try to turn him against Russia. Guess what? Blinken already tried that. Didn't work. In fact, he didn't even meet with Blinken. Didn't even meet with. And when the United States sent people to Niger and Mali, the presidents of those countries didn't even meet with them. But guess what Xi Jinping is going to do? He's going to convince them to abandon the United States. He's going to tell them the United States don't care about you. They're putting you in a bad situation. You better be cool, and maybe we'll allow you to come into BRICS because we're going to break that dollar. Boom. He's going there to convince them to leave the United States alone. Now, here's the kicker. Trump already does not have a working relationship with NATO. Think back. They talked about him like a dog. And he told them, you all aren't carrying your weight. But it was a reason they weren't carrying their weight because the United States wanted to be in control of everything. The United States is the reason why NATO is militarily weak because the United States wants to control everything. Putin knows this. See, the only person Putin got to take care of is Russia. The only country Xi Jinping has to take care of is China. The only country Iran has to take care of is Iran. But the United States, 800 bases all over the world. That is an ingredient for annihilation. Because if America goes to war with Russia, then all those bases with those 800 bases with about some of them have 1,000 people on it. Some have less than that. Some might have 50, 75 on those little bases. And guess what? They're all sitting ducks. One missile can take them all out. So the United States isn't even in a position now and now the United States is trying to crank up its war machine. But shoot, what's the name is already running ahead of you. And I'm gonna tell you this: Russia is doing what Russia is is beating the slop out of Ukraine. I think Russia's shooting one missile. Uh, Ukraine shoots one missile. Russia shoots either 6 or 10. Ukraine shoots one missile. Russia got firing back 6 or 10. And guess what else? And while Russia is doing that, it's giving weapons to Africa and putting weaponry on the outskirts of Israel. Russia's military is in Ukraine, Africa, and Israel, and they're not even breaking a sweat. And what is the United States doing? Buying 40-year-old planes, buying old 40-year-old planes to try to fix them up and use them against Russia. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you buy a 40-year-old car and fix it up to compete with a 2024? Don't make no sense. Like I said, first of all, Ukraine should have given up instead of Zelensky should have given up instead of selling the soul of Ukraine to Russia, because they were going to get bombarded. But see, the United States was hoping that Russia get hit, Ukraine get hit. Tit for tat. It's not tit for tat. Ukraine has lost over 700,000 men. And so you could say they have about $1.4 million, 1.4 million men injured. Some won't be able to come back. Guess what? Last year, the missionaries, was that what you call it? The foreign missionaries, or whatever you call them, they left. Mercenaries, the foreign mercenaries, they left the Ukraine last year because they knew they were outgunned. They were outgunned. The mercenaries were outgunned, and they left. They left. France tried to send a team of trainee people to train the Ukrainians on how to use the weaponry and stuff. Russia bombed them, took them out. And France said, that's not fair. They literally said, that's not fair. In fact, China technology is sweeping the globe, and the United States told China, that's not fair. We need you to scale back on your technology. And if you don't, we're going to sanction you. Checkers and chess. They knew the United States moves before the United States knew their moves. And then the United States banned these old fighter jets. I mean, be real. Which would you rather have? A reconditioned 1970, 1980 fighter jet, or a brand new 2024? Checkers and chess. Checkers and chess. Now, one final thing I want to say. Another brilliant move was when Russia told Africans that Jesus was a black man. See, that's the truth. And the truth is even better than the propaganda, because propaganda is lies. But understand this: the Vatican supported colonization and slavery, and now it's supporting homosexuality and feminism. And guess what happened? And guess what happened? People are leaving Christianity and becoming Muslim. People are leaving Christianity and going over to Islam. All this homosexual gay marriage stuff. And then the United States is going to try to force it on. This is so goofy. The United States is going to offer Africa $400 million to have for gay marriages. Russia told Africa, we're going to give you $23 billion to feed your people. Now the United States, what is wrong with the United States? The United States is no more a friend of Africa than the United States is a friend of African Americans. America bullies African Americans. They bully us. They shoot us in the back and they put us in jail. And they let the police who did it get away. Everybody knows Trayvon Martin was not a threat to Zimmerman. George Floyd should be alive today. Now, Africa sees this. When Africans look at me, they see an African. They don't see an enslaver or a colonizer. And the beautiful thing that Russia did was separated himself from the colonizers and the enslavers. And now Africans know that Russia has never tried to enslave or colonize them. In fact, in the 1940s, Russia opened up the freedom schools and invited third world countries to Russia to study. And once they finished studying, they have to go back to their country. Russia wasn't giving them citizenship. Russia wasn't trying to integrate with them. Russia was trying to educate and then send them back home. Freedom schools. That's something, you would think that's something that the United States would have. But hey, black people, we had to come up with our own colleges. Or else we wouldn't get in it, or else we couldn't go to college. But a lot of black people left the United States in the 1940s and went to college in Russia. And the Russian people were mad because because they had to pay, whereas the people from third world countries, Russia was housing them and giving them free education and then sending them back home. Don't believe me? Look up the freedom schools in Russia. But like I'm saying, might as well throw them all in there. BRICS is playing chess, and the United States is playing checkers. And right now, the name of the game is checkmate. It's checkmate. But and China is going to France and all of Europe, and China's gonna go over there. China's not going over there to listen to what they got to. China's not going over there to listen to NATO. China's going over there to give them an ultimatum. Either you get in line or forget it. Either you get in line or you're going to get left out. And one other thing I want you to understand, not all the countries in NATO hate Russia. Not all the countries in NATO hate Russia. That's why this isn't World War III. And I'm going to tell you this, the two most hated countries in the world, Israel and United States. There's no way in the world you can try to kill an entire race of people and be loved. And the United States is just a bully anyway. And doesn't United States does not work well or play well with and get along with others, period. So hey, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. And this thing went on longer than I expected it to, so I don't know, and I'm not good at editing, so it may be a few mistakes in there. But anyway, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.